In 3, 2, 1. I think it's working. Oh boy, the bits are coming in. Lewis,
Terrible.
don't even ask me because I know what you're gonna say. You want to get your hands on that delicious tweet action. I know what you're gonna say. Here it comes.
Give me the
I hope you're hungry because I got some delicious clickbait here for you. Ready for this? You're getting yanked from the pond on this one. Whoops! You already said that. What the hell? It just said I can't tweet it because I already tweeted it.
What?
Hold on a sec. Hold on. And we're live. Whoops. How's it going,
said
everyone?
You couldn't tweet it. It has a no duplication.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Shout out to Ulysses Martinez. Hey, Keith Long. I'm actually here on time. Well, welcome. Yeah, you beat El Caney. So let's see here. I'm trying to send out my tweet, and it's saying it doesn't like that. Oh, I guess hold on a second. What the hell is this? Let me, I must have accidentally sent this. So
I got it.
Oh, well, I just deleted it. So don't.
What?
Yeah, I sent it out too early.
Oh my
There we go.
God in
Boom.
heaven.
Well, what?
There we go. It's out, Lewis. The tweet is out. The tweet has been tweeted.
Why would you? I'm very confused.
Got it. Okay. Tweet that out.
It's the
there's
same
some-
thing,
the
but you
it's-
deleted it because you sent it out too soon.
Yeah. Well, because everyone who would have
But-
joined would have just been sitting there.
But it was already.
Yeah. So now
Am I
it's
missing
official.
something?
So many things, Lewis.
Oh my God.
You did too many push-ups the other day. I think that I think your brain's having a hard time.
Some brain squeezed out of my ears like Play-Doh.
You're in too much pain to be thinking clearly. Shout out to Xavier Campo. We got Jeff Drew in here. He just says, "Sup, people." We got an exciting show for you guys this week. Oh man, we got some talk on the MacBook Pros. We got some talk on other topics. Only the true believers are just sitting here.
That's about it, right?
Look, I'll be
It's
honest.
good.
I'll be honest with you guys. It was a struggle to put together the show this week. I'm not fooling anyone, am I? But we do have some interesting stuff. But you know, the thing is like all the Apple stuff is out. There's almost nothing left to talk about as far as rumors go. Although we do have some interesting iMac Pros banter yet to happen. Steve Bird says, "Hey yo." Chase McLean says, "Hello." Oh wait, sorry, Chase McLean. Oh, Steve W. Bird wants say, yeah. I'm not sure. Is that a reference to who I think it is? Is that a reference to the doc? I think it might be. Okay, well, look, everyone's pouring in. That was weird. So when I sent that out, Lewis, it was like, it felt like it took a little while for that to actually take effect. But it looks like everyone's pouring in now. We got Sajid Iqbal. Hello! Okay, let's just get going because I got a hard stop in 1 hour from now. So let's cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who. And let's see here. Here we go. Where is she? Mrs. D. Oh, she is spunky today. I just love talking about the M1 Max. Well, me too, Mrs. D. So I think we're going to have an exciting conversation about this. I got some benchmarks to show you that are really going to blow up your skirt. Oh, my. So let's get this thing on the road. Here we go. Wait a second. My notes aren't up. Here we go. Now here we go. Hello and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airpod Elijah. Join me today. He discovered one of the best hidden features about the new MacBook Pros. If any Cult Mac writers are typing too slow, he can quickly unplug that MagSafe, and with that 140 watts, just right in the neck, zaps him right back. Keeps him well motivated. He's the managing editor of Cult Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
I disavow. I disavow.
Now, Lewis wrote this intro for you. Leander, are you ready? Because I didn't have one prepared. Here we go. He doesn't have all the hardware creation talents like Steve Jobs, but he is just as big of an ass. He's the founder of Cult Mac. Leander Katie is here.
Lewis wrote that one.
Lewis came up with that on the fly
It's a
as we
paraphrase.
were preparing for the show because you said you were joining, and I was like, oh, I didn't think that LK was going to be here. And so I don't have an intro for him. He's like, I got one. And it just flowed out so naturally. He didn't even have to think about it. That just flowed out
Just
immediately.
came right out. That's
It's
great.
like he's been waiting to say that his whole life. And he wasn't smiling when he said it. He kind of looked like he was pissed. So he's like, that. Can you guys hear that beep? God, I can't believe that I had that on the board.
Did hear that? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we got a lot of stuff here to talk about this show. We got some new benchmarks from the MacBook Pro, the M1 X or the M1 Max, excuse me. God, that's never going to leave my brain. So I saw this guy compare it to a monster build PC with some of the best hardware that you can buy today. And I was expecting the PC to blow the M1 Max out of the water. And guess what happened? Not that. The results I thought were truly surprising because, the M1 Max MacBook Pro is a desktop or a notebook, and it's competing against a desktop. So we'll talk about that. Also, we have some more information to share with you on the iMac quote-unquote Pro that I think is still on the way and looks like it's still in the pipes for us. So this is the last piece of exciting hardware. I guess the iMac or the Mac Pro is also after this, but the one that's going to be actually affordable for most people. And then the move to the Apple Silicon will be complete. And let's see here. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. We are going to be discussing a new feature coming to Apple Watch, which is actually pretty cool. And I forgot to add Leander's name to that. Oh, no, there we go. Leander, that's going to be all you. And we'll talk some more about side-loading apps on iOS. I think this is going to end up having to happen. It has to. There's way too much momentum, but Apple's doing everything that they can to keep this at bay, even though I think it's inevitable. So eventually you'll be able to buy apps in iOS outside of the App Store, which I think will be really cool. I mean, you can already do it on the Mac, so why not do it on iPhone? We're going to wrap up with an all-new What We're Into. This is the segment where we talk about things that maybe aren't tech-related. They could be movies. They could be TV shows, and oftentimes that's what they are. And I've got to pick this week. Oh, man. I watched something that was truly unsettling and one of the scariest pieces of content that I've seen in a long time. And it wasn't a horror movie. It wasn't like a Saw movie or anything like that. So we'll dive into all of that stuff and more, I'm sure. Before we jump in, let me give a hearty thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. God, do you still not have a website? It is freaking almost 2022. By the way, daylight savings time this weekend, Lewis and Leander. Don't forget,
Yeah,
thanks
no.
for the tip.
Sunday. I can't believe it's already here. So it's almost 2022. You have been listening to the show for, I don't even know how long it's been on, 10 years? You've been listening to Squarespace sponsorships for 8 years of that, and you've been lazy. I don't know what you've been doing with your life, but it hasn't been growing your business. It hasn't been monetizing your talents in any way. And you're like thinking to yourself, it's time that I get my act together. Like, I'm tired of Erifon making fun of me, and I feel like he's speaking directly to me, and it's time that I finally do something with my life. And I think in order to get that thing going, what you need is you need some momentum. You need to put your vision out there, advertise that business, and you can do all that stuff on Squarespace, squarespace.com/CultCast. You can promote your business. You can promote your talents. You can build a e-commerce store and sell digital products or physical products. You can build a personal membership website where you can have information available to your members and charge them like a monthly fee for that. I mean, there's just all sorts of ways to monetize. And I'm all about monetizing. You know that, Lewis. I mean, I'm not friends with someone for less than $9.99 a month. They have to pay me if they want to hang out with me. You know, even if I like them, if I don't like them, it's even more. And Squarespace gives you all sorts of ways to creatively monetize your life and your skill set. And you can do it all at squarespace.com/CultCast. You just pick a template and build a website. It will take you mere moments. You can customize it if you want and make it look uniquely yours, all without having to code anything. Everything's drag and drop, and their backend system is really beautiful and easy to use. You'll have a website up and running, and if you like what you have after the 2-week trial, you can use code CultCast at checkout. You'll save 10% off your first purchase. And you'll also get a free domain name if you sign up for a year service and an additional discount, which is what I do. at squarespace.com/CultCast. Squarespace.com/CultCast. Okay, where are we? Let's talk about iMac quote unquote Pro. I don't know if they're actually going to bring back an iMac quote unquote Pro, or if it's just going to be the M1 Max iMac. They'll probably just call it that. But we know that they're working on something, right? And we've got some new details to share with you. I'm sending it over to Lewis. Lewis, I almost just took this from you, but I realized I gave it to you.
So close to stealing. Yeah.
I'm sending it back to you.
High-end iMac Pro expected to return next year with the new M1 Pro and M1 Max chipsets. Although I'm agreeing with you, like, why would they make it with the Pro and not the Max? But anyway, this tipster is saying that the powerful all-in-one will feature a 27-inch mini LED display and possibly even Face ID.
I mean, laugh about that.
It just kind of cracks me up that it's not in the MacBooks. Yeah, I keep waiting for it. It seems to make logical sense to me. Anyway, machine won't be cheap, supposedly, though, with prices that going to start at or over $2,000. But if you think about it, quite a deal because, the last iMac Pro started at just a hair under $5,000. So
yeah. And I bet this is going to blow the performance out of the water. And actually, if you think about it, maybe this is why they discontinued the iMac Pro so far ahead of time, because they knew what they had in the pipe, and they're like, we're going to be releasing this for a much lower price, and it might be kind of embarrassing to Apple if they didn't put some space between the two machines. So they're selling this really expensive machine, and then they release something that's like half the price, but twice the performance. And all the people who bought the iMac Pro are like, what the hell is this? I just spent all this money on the iMac Pro, and now you release something that is half the price or less than half the price and blows the performance out of the water. I mean, maybe that's why. I don't think that's a bad theory.
I wonder what the, at or above. I bet it's above.
At or above what? What do you mean?
2,000.
$2,000.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing $24.99 start.
That's not a
well, the
bad
iMacs
theory.
usually have been, the 27-inch iMacs have started lower than that, right? Haven't they? What do they cost right now?
I want to say $1,300, but they just discontinued their lowest end model. So now I'm not even sure. Now I think the only iMacs that you can get are just the M1 version. Yeah.
I mean, the 21-inch, the most expensive one starts at $16.99.
Okay.
So,
and that's the one they just axed.
No, I'm talking about the 24-inch. The new 24-inch.
I thought you said the 21.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't even know why you'd want the older one. Sorry, go ahead.
The 27-inch Mac with the 5K Retina is about $1,800.
Interesting. Okay. So that's the lowest entry point now for the iMac? That sounds kind of high.
No, for the 27-inch iMac. The 24-inch is cheaper, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So the current 27-inch one is $1,800. The 24-inch is something.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
24-inch starts at $12.99, $14.99, or $16.99.
The 24-inch
This is why
is
people tune into this informative.
something.
We'd love to hear us read the Apple website pricing.
That was just so funny.
Shutting the tab.
We're like trying to figure out how much this dang thing costs, and later's like, the 24-inch costs something. We don't know. We have no idea. Yeah, so exciting news, and shout out to Dylan DTK for providing some more information on the iMac in parentheses Pro. He's saying ProMotion and mini LED backlight, base model, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 storage, M1 Pro and Max. That'll be interesting. What's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to eke any additional performance out of it, or if it's going to be basically the same as the MacBook Pro. Dark bezels, HDMI, SD card slot, dark bezels. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it has like a Pro look to it, SD card slot, USB-C, similar design to the iMac 24-inch and Pro XDR display. Okay, yeah. Starting price at or over $2,000. Ethernet on brick standard. That would be cool. And that's something I wish they had brought to the MacBook Pro. What does this 1H 2022 mean? That's the date of release. I'm guessing. What is a 1H?
It means like first quarter. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because
First half.
Oh,
First
first
half.
half.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Too late to second half, first half.
Got it. Okay, I was gonna say, like, what the hell's the age? Got it. Okay, let's see. What else does he have to say? You guys noticed how iMac 24 inches the same as the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro 13. Same reasoning is being applied to this Pro iMac. Same M1 Pro and M1 Max. There may be an added configuration, but at this time, I can't say for certain. And Dylan DTK, he or DKT, I should say, he's been getting a lot of stuff right lately. So he's kind of building a name for himself as being like an actual legitimate leaker. So I'll be curious to see how well this pans out. So I know a lot of you were waiting for the iMac, quote unquote, Pro, and we're super bummed that we didn't get it at the keynote event with the MacBook Pro. So you have some hope. Just save your money for a little while longer, because I think it's going to be worth the wait. And even I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm like, do I get the MacBook Pro, or should I just wait for the iMac? The iMac will be a little bit cheaper probably. It might even be more powerful because they can pump more current into it and draw some more juice out of it. But it could end up being just the same performance, different form factor. Yeah. What's up?
I was just saying, and cooling as well. They can cool it probably more effectively.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's probably going to be pretty similar, isn't it? Unless they juice it. I mean, what are the chances of them having second gen Pro and Max M1s? Not very likely, is it?
No, I don't think so. I think it will be the exact same chipset that they're using for the MacBook Pro, and they're going to roll everything. So everything. This is just me theorizing here, right? So everything is going to be M1 something, and then they'll move on to M2. I don't think they're going to release an M2 before they've moved the Intel machines over to M1X or I can't get out of my brain. M1 Max or M1 Pro, because that would be weird. It's like, oh, you're already on M2, and now I'm getting like last gen tech in my machine. So they're going to move everything over, and then they'll start sprinkling out the M2. But the M2, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the M1 is already so performant that I'm curious to see how much or how well the M2 competes against the M1 Pro or M1 Max, because in some ways I bet you it's going to cannibalize those two chips, and they don't want to do that. They want to hold off on that for as long as possible, because then you're going to be like, well, why should I buy a Pro machine when I can just buy the much cheaper M2 that does all this cool stuff and is like one half the price. So there you go. There is your iMac Pro news. Let's talk a little bit about the MacBook Pro with the M1 Max. And I saw a video this week. It's actually kind of cool. So like this dude who made this video, he's got let's see here, 900 subscribers. Yeah, 879. Shout out to John Almas. And he's probably pretty psyched because this comparison vid that he did, it blew up. This is probably, I haven't looked, but this is probably like one of his highest performing videos, I would guess, with this many subscribers. And what he did was he did a video that compared the M1 Max MacBook Pro to his really crazy powerful PC build that he did. And it's funny, I've seen tests like this in the past, not against the current MacBook Pro, but where people who are video editors, and that's what he is, will build this really crazy powerful PC, and they'll spend like between $5,000 and $7,000 on it. And it will do some things better than a MacBook Pro or an equivalent, iMac or something, but it doesn't do a lot of things better. In fact, in some tests, it actually performs much worse, and that's kind of what he discovered in this test. So it's shocking because the components that he was using for this build are pretty much the best components that you can get on the market today. So he was using an RTX 3090. I mean, that graphics card is, I think, the best that you can get. It probably cost at this point, because there's no graphic cards anywhere. I'm going to guess it costs $1,600 just for that GPU. He has a Ryzen 9 5950X chip in it, which is the newer version of what I'm using, the Cult Commander here, which is what we use to stream the show. It's a 16 core chip, just an absolute monster. He has 128 gigs of RAM. He's
128 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? So I mean, he's I think he probably could have gotten away with 64, but he was going all out. I mean, he has a modern NVMe SSD in it. He has a 1,000-watt PSU power supply, which doesn't mean anything, but he needs all that power to run this crazy powerful PC, which probably draws I'm gonna guess on full load between 7 to
1,000 watts.
Yeah, it might draw close to 1,000 watts, like because that GPU is super power hungry, and and so he's got this monster PC that he built. And the cool thing about this video is like when you watch, he's running the test, and I'm not gonna play it here because I don't want to infringe on his copyright here on his content, but you can go watch it. I'll put a link in the show notes and in the chat. And you can just watch his facial expressions, which I think is the thing that sells this video and makes it popular. Like he's like, I don't think he was expecting to get the results that he got. And you can see his face contort as he realizes this $2,500 MacBook Pro literally outperforms this $5,000 to $7,000 PC build in virtually every test that he did. And he's like, I just can't believe I spent all this money. I mean, look at his facial expression. Here, I'll share my screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Like, you can see his facial expression here, and it's surprise mixed with sadness at the realization that he spent all this money. Right? That's the look of a man who just realized he didn't need to spend $7,000 on a PC. And he's going through these tests, and I'll give you some of the high level results here, and then you can go watch the video for the full tests. So he did some export tests in DaVinci Resolve and also in Premiere Pro. And the surprising thing was Premiere Pro, because historically Premiere Pro is usually better optimized for PC. And the test that he did, the M1 Max MacBook Pro blew it away in Premiere Pro against the PC. So he did an export test and other tests, but the export tests, the ones I thought were really interesting. In DaVinci Resolve, which we know is optimized for M1, the DaVinci Resolve export he did on PC, it took a minute, and the M1 Max MacBook Pro did the same test in 36 seconds, right? So that's twice as fast and half the cost, probably even more than half the cost. And then he did another export test on the PC in Premiere Pro, and that test took 2 minutes and 5 seconds to export this video. And the MacBook Pro, and this was the truly surprising result to me, did that same test in 53 seconds. So again, more than twice as fast and probably less than half the cost. And that's when his face really started to contort. And I think I heard like some gastrointestinal distress at this point, some grumbling and something happened.
So he threw a bunch of benchmarks at it. He was doing all of these different tests.
Yeah. So the video is like 19 minutes long. I don't think he did Geekbench. So the video is focused primarily on video editing, which is one of the reasons why people would buy the M1 Max MacBook Pro, is because of video editing. I think that it's a video editing monster. And I mean that's not even considering like all the other high-end components that go into the MacBook Pro that you can't even buy at retail for PC. Like I don't think that you can buy an SSD on the market that performs at 5,000 megabytes per second. Like you can't even buy that component. Like a regular SSD might get you to like 1,500 read-write, but that's nowhere near as fast as the MacBook Pro. And so the conclusion of his test was just utter surprise that this MacBook Pro ran circles around his super expensive PC build, and he was basically like, I'm not even going to use the MacBook or the PC for editing anymore. And the other thing that I thought was interesting about this test was it's not Final Cut Pro that he's testing. He's testing Premiere and he's testing DaVinci. Like, these are two applications that people often use in the world of PC and would make you think, oh, well, I don't need to buy a MacBook Pro because these apps are optimized for PC, and they still the MacBook Pro still outperformed his super expensive PC. So if you're a video editor like I am, or you do any kind of production, I honestly at this point in time, I don't know if there's a machine that you can get that is better than a MacBook Pro. That might just be the ultimate video editing machine, maybe even regardless of cost. Like if you've watched any of the benchmarks of the MacBook Pro versus the Mac Pro, it's basically made the Mac Pro obsolete, except for maybe some fringe exceptions where you're doing things that require like, a huge amount of cores. But for the most part, the M1 Max is outperforming literally everything on the market. It's really like the best machine that you can buy at this point, and not the most expensive machine. So that's pretty exciting, I thought. And we're only at the beginning, right? I mean, we're still expecting the iMacs with the M1. We're still expecting the Mac Pro with the M1 technology. So it's going to be the sky's the limit for here. We're like at the very bottom of what Apple has planned for us. Yeah. So your mind's blown now, but just wait to see what they end up doing. And I think your face is going to look a lot like this when all is said and done. That's the look of a man who just realized he spent too much on a PC. All right, let's see here. Shout out to Auto Body Care. Auto Body Care is here. He says, "Hi, guys. We're glad that you made it Auto Body Care. And I care about Auto Body Care. So we have that in common." Let's see here. Let's move it on to a new feature for Apple Watch. Leander, this is all you.
Yeah.
And I think this actually might be useful for many people.
Yeah, look at that picture. Yeah, it'd be useful for me. I had a little crash the other day.
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
On my bike. I ran into a car.
You're kidding.
I rear-ended it.
You rear-ended the car. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Because it cost me insurance. It cost me a bunch of money. I smashed up the car.
You actually damaged the car? Really?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
They're made out of plastic these days.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but Leander's bike is made out of like carbon fiber.
Right. It is.
Indestructible carbon fiber.
Is your bike okay, Leander?
Yeah, it was not a scratch on me. I hurt my I punched the car, so I hurt my my fist a little bit. It was a bit swollen, but that was it.
So
and the bike didn't have a scratch on it. I couldn't believe it. I smashed the rear light, the back light, and the bumper. The bumper was all bent and cracked.
And you don't have bike insurance, right? So now you got to just pay for this guy's repairs.
Well, luckily it was covered by our homeowner's insurance.
Really? You riding your bike?
Totally weird.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that is totally weird. I never would have imagined hearing such a story where you're the one that caused the damage on the bike.
Yeah, I know. And I was right in front of this cop too. This cop was right there. But I admitted fault. It was totally my fault. I mean, I took this car. I thought it was going to go through the stop sign, but it stopped. I thought it was, I thought it was going to pull out, but they didn't. And after they'd stopped, and I ran right in the back of them. Yeah.
That's a crazy story.
Did they do one of those things where they start to go and then they do a double stop?
Well, that's what I thought they did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they psyched you out.
The last accident I was in too. Like,
huh?
That's the last accident I was in. Like, yeah, you're gonna go, and so they start to go, and then you start to go, and then they stop, and you go, "What did you just do? You just stopped."
And you didn't.
Maybe
and
he
I was not able to stop fast enough.
Maybe he looked up in the rearview mirror and he saw you coming. Maybe he works for a 9-to-5 Mac, and he looked up. He's like, "Uh-oh, here comes LK. Look at this." He's like, "I'm gonna floor it for like 2 seconds and then stomp on the brakes." Watch this. You smacking him. He's like high-fiving this guy in the car. Anyway, glad you're okay. So let's head back to the Apple Watch, because clearly this is a feature that the driver could have used on you.
Jeez.
So yeah, the Apple Watch and the iPhone could get car crash detection next year. So the Apple Watch already offers fall detection, which, as the name suggests, uses a built-in sensor to detect hard falls, and then gives users the option to call emergency services. It can also send a message to selected contacts. So Apple plans to do something similar for car crashes next year, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal. It's already been working on the feature quietly in the background by studying real car crashes. So, quote, this is according to the Wall Street Journal, quote, Apple products have already detected more than 10 million suspected vehicle impacts, which I thought was an crazy number.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Of which more than 50,000 included a call to 911. That's a lot of crashes. That's a lot of calls. Reads the report, which cites leaked Apple documents and sources with knowledge of the plan. So, quote, Apple has been using the 911 call data to improve the accuracy of its crash detection algorithm, since an emergency call associated with a suspected impact gives Apple more confidence that it is indeed a car crash. So they're tying together these incident reports with 911 calls. That's what they're using to train the AI.
Oh, interesting.
And then this is planned for 2022. So details of the feature are slim for now, but it's believed to function a lot like fall detection. It'll give the users users the ability to quickly call 911 or initiate a call automatically if no response is detected. Yeah, so coming soon.
Lena, are you like rocking your mic around or something? I keep hearing some like weird.
I'm
like,
jiggling. Sorry.
Quit. Wait, is that like a glass with ice in it or something?
I don't know what it is.
Oh,
It might
Yeah.
be all this stuff I have attached to the microphone, like a
yep, that's definitely
Oh,
it.
jeez, that's great.
the thing.
I keep hearing it
So-
sounds like you got like a glass of whiskey with some ice cubes in it or something, and it just keeps like it sounds
it's
like a
this-
glass full of ice.
Can you see this thing? It's this little bell.
No, you have a bell attached
He's
to your
wearing a
microphone.
cowbell. More cowbell.
I have this attached to my microphone. May not be the best idea.
Yeah, having a bell attached to your mic, I've never tried that, but
Well,
it sounds like it might not
World.
be a good idea for an audio majority podcast.
Yeah. And
You
I
like
was jiggling
trying
my
out
leg.
for-
Sorry, with a
Yeah.
so making it move.
Okay, that does sound a little bit better. I just know that some people are very sensitive to extraneous noises on the podcast. Remember that guy who
I
like
know. Yeah.
threatened
Well,
to
there's a
come
lot of
kill you?
noises coming.
Maybe
Noises.
maybe the bell will cover up for the sniffing.
Yeah, but people like the sniffing, Lewis. People like the sniffing. All right, let's see here. Before we move on,
Well, hold on,
Lewis.
Lewis had something to add to this story.
Oh, what's that?
Ah.
Lewis?
Yeah, what an ad. Yeah, this made me think, like, how many of those 10 million suspected vehicle impacts were people's iPhones just flying off their seats? I mean, mine
Oh,
happens
yeah.
to me like at least once a week, and I'm always like cringing. Oh my god, did I just destroy my phone? Because I don't. Stupidly enough, I don't have any kind of like, car dock, which I really need to do. But
even if you had a car dock, it would still probably fly out because those things are attached by a suction cup. So that's actually a really interesting point. They'd probably want to base it on your Apple Watch, not necessarily your phone, because if you stop too fast, your phone goes flying, and then the
Every
impact
time.
might think that you got into
So
like a
often.
serious accident, and you don't want it automatically calling emergency services just because you hit the brakes at 10 miles an hour.
Well, what kind
Right.
of lead foot do you have, Lewis? How's it come your phone's always flying off the car
That's
seat?
actually a better question.
well, I mean, it doesn't take much. I mean, that's the honest truth. If it's just sitting there, I have it plugged in for CarPlay, and I got nowhere to put it, so I just set it on my seat, and I mean, literally going down a hill, it doesn't take anything. Doesn't take anything. It happens all the time, and I don't even drive that much.
Yeah, Lewis,
we've-
they do have these things that allow you to attach your phone to like the dashboard of your car.
I understand this.
You can get them
In
for like
fact,
$20.
In fact, I
Yeah.
actually have a cool one I want to try out, but it's a vent one, right? And I don't actually have a good vent to put it on, right? If I put it on a vent, it's going to hang down right over top of the CarPlay screen. So then what do
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah,
Dang
that's why
it.
you need one with one of those adjustable arms. I'm sure we've got some really beautiful ones in the Cultomax store, Lewis.
Ooh, what a segue.
Have you tried looking in the Cultomax store?
I should have been the first thing I looked at, isn't it?
Yeah, that should have been, and you should have done that like 2 years ago, because I'm sure we got some nice ones in there.
Wonder what we call that. Do we have a thing? We have charging stands. I don't know if we have car chargers.
I bet we
Well,
do.
I mean,
yeah,
like
we do.
a separate category,
Yeah, was that a iPhone car holder? iPhone car mount. iPhone car.
Mag mount. There we go.
Look at
There's
that.
one.
We got a
Look at all
bunch of them,
those.
Lewis.
The mag
a
mount
bunch of
for
them.
MagSafe car mount. Yeah, I never really liked the ones with suction cups. And I'm always hesitant to use the adhesive.
Why?
I'll admit it.
Why? They I mean the one that I have, it just has like a sticky it's almost like micro suction cups all over it, and so it doesn't actually have any kind of adhesive. It's just extra clingy, and it doesn't leave any residue behind or anything on your dashboard, and if it gets dirty, you just rinse it off. It's actually kind of nice. I mean, that's a pretty common design these days.
Huh.
Yeah.
I used to use one that had like the lever and the rubber suction cup thing, and once a month that would go once again flying across my car.
Okay, well, let's talk about store.cultamac.com, Lewis. I'm trying to segue into this, and you keep trying to take us back.
Well, we're talking about it right now, right? I mean,
Are we
we've got
still? I
several
thought we
different ones in there.
migrated away.
We got a mag mount car mount for iPhone 12 with bracket type. I don't know what that means even. Bracket type. What does that
Yeah.
mean? Bracket.
Maybe
type?
that's the kind
Looks
that
to me
grabs
like-
onto your vents, I think.
I don't know if that's what that is. I don't know. But we do have the adhesive ones, 3M adhesive. We got ones with I don't know, something else.
We got something else.
Obviously, I haven't looked into it, right? I mean, here's one of the ones that sticks. This suction mount sticks to your windshield. I mean, your mileage may vary with these things. I don't know. I haven't used any of these. I don't know exactly how good they are. The last time I tried one was, I don't know, a long time ago. So I guess the overarching point at this point in the podcast is if you need an accessory for your iPhone, including a car mount, go to store.cultofmac.com.
Store.cultofmac.com.
Whatever you need. Whatever you need. Good prices, everything's vetted. So
we also have
it's almost guaranteed to be fantastic.
We also have new AirPod 3 cases, which I was just admiring. They got some cool ones here. They got one that looks like the original Mac. We got one that looks like a Game Boy. We've got some plain ones if you just want something that will keep your case protected but isn't super fancy.
It looks like a peach, which is odd.
Yeah, I kind of like that one. That's pretty minimalist. Oh, they have keychains on them too, so that you can bring your AirPods case with you. So if you're looking for some cool accessories, I mean, the thing about the Cult of Mac store is that this stuff is curated, so it's like cool stuff. But we also have great prices, so it's a good place to go if you're looking for something interesting, something beautiful, something aesthetically pleasing. Right? It's not going to be some cheap garbage. And all you gotta do is go to store.cultofmac.com. Yes, Leanna, go ahead.
Look at that one, the AirPods 3 case with the AirTag. It's got an AirTag attachment to it.
Oh, I have to look for that.
Logo.
AirTags.
Cool one.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's one for the AirPod 3 though.
Okay, sorry, maybe for another one.
AirPods 2. I know what you're talking about. It's called like the shutters something or
Yeah, it looks like a little camera.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, so it's for the AirPods Pro.
AirPods Pro. Got it. Okay.
Right.
All right. Well,
it's a good one. And I love the idea. I mean, that's one of the things that I am constantly losing is my AirPods. I mean, especially since I have two sets that I use for different things, I'm constantly losing like one or the other of them. And there it is right there. Do you see it? The Alago Snapshot AirPods Pro.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's $14.99. It's cool looking. And, it honestly, like, Apple needs to build the AirTag into the case.
No kidding. So, or at least the technology. So, for those of you listening, it's a AirPods Pro case that has a built-in compartment for an AirTag so that you'll never lose them again. That's actually a great idea. Because that's one of the things that I always lose, right? My AirPods, they're so easy to lose. And you are on the go using them, so you're always taking them places. Then you set down the case, and it's like, uh-oh, what happened to the case? No idea.
It's in your coat pocket, it's in your bag, it's in your this, it's in your that. Somebody else took it. I'm a big fan of the AirPods cases in general, just because it really makes it easier to distinguish, which one is which. If you have multiple people in your house using AirPods or, even multiple ones of your own. Speaking of which, I can't wait to get the AirPods 3.
Oh, dude, me too. I'm super excited about this.
I haven't done it, but I just.
You're gonna do it. I know it. I can tell you can't resist. All right, let's continue. I gotta stop in 25 minutes, so we gotta start. We gotta pick up the pace here, and I'll just gloss over this one story about Greg Federighi. It's just so funny to me. Apple really is doing their best to try to make an argument that side-loading apps in the iPhone would be unsafe. We shouldn't allow it. I'm like, dude, you do it for the Mac. You know how to do it. You've been doing it on the Mac since the beginning of Apple, when you were Apple computers. You know how to safeguard a device from malware. And he was speaking at a web summit. Let's hear. Do I have this up? Where is it? Yeah, Craig Federighi. Look, he's looking like $1 million. I like Craig. No hard feelings to Craig. But I don't know if he believes what he's shoveling here. So he was speaking at the Web Summit conference in Portugal, and he said sideloading would result in the floodgates opening to malware. I'm like, no, it wouldn't. Not necessarily. He said that while the Digital Markets Act has an admirable mission, so this is a new act, a European act, I believe. I'm not even sure if it's been passed, that would force closed stores to allow sideloading. So it would force Apple to allow sideloading apps on the iPhone, which I think needs to happen. Let's see here. He believes that the provision requiring sideloading would be a step backwards, and that it takes away a user's choice. Oh, you got to love that. A user's choice of a more secure platform in iOS compared to Android. That is hilarious. He's saying that it removes choice by allowing users to sideload their own apps outside of the App Store. That's some clever jujitsu there.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Well, let me read this last quote. He goes on to say, as an engineer who wants to stay as secure as possible for our users and have great hair, there is one part I worry about, and that's the provision that will require iPhone to allow sideloading. In the name of giving users more choice, that one provision would take away a user's choice of a more secure platform. And then he goes on to say that even if users have no intention of sideloading, they could be routinely coerced. Coerced? What? Or tricked into doing it. I'm like, dude, now you're really stretching. Now you're really stretching, Craig. I know that you can dazzle people with your looks, but those words don't make any sense. So here's what would happen if Apple allowed users to sideload apps. There would be competing marketplaces that would pop up that would allow virtually everything, and they would be the ones that vet the content instead of Apple. And then Apple would lose the opportunity to monetize those apps, and the apps would be just as safe as they were before because there would be competing app stores that you could buy from. Now, if you were like, I'm going to download an app from the Pirate Bay, it's like, okay, well then, yeah, you might get a virus doing that. But it's not going to brick your device. You'll just wipe it out, reinstall the OS, and you'll be good to go. That's what happens on a Mac, right? It's not going to actually brick your device. I feel like he's trying to be a boogeyman here and be like, oh, your device is going to get broken. And then the other app stores would be vetting the content. There'd be user reviews, so people would be able to tell what's safe and what's not. I think it would be just as safe as having the App Store. And then if you didn't want to do that, you don't have to. So there's literally zero argument that I could think of that you can make to legitimately refute that we should have sideloading on the iPhone. I think the only reason Apple does it, and I think the reason is clear, is it makes them money, and they don't want other people to be making money. Anyone disagree?
Well,
anyone dare to disagree with me on that?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of malware in the Google App Store, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, already, because I don't place it as closely as Apple does, but he is kind of a little bit right.
How is he right,
I
though?
agree. I'm a big fan of sideloading. I'd love to have it on the iPhone, but when that last quote, I think it's not the clearest quote, but I think he's sort of saying that, if there's ways to load software onto your iPhone that isn't just the App Store, then it opens up the possibility that you could get tricked into loading some, downloading some malware or, some spyware, which, I think that's true, isn't it? You could potentially be tricked into doing that. Right?
You could, but I think the number of people who might be quote unquote tricked into doing something like that would be minuscule. Like far and away, most people would be able to understand how to download an app from.
Yes and no. I mean, remember on the PC, Microsoft done a lot with security, but back 10 years ago, the PC was a nightmare for security, wasn't it? There were so many viruses and malware going around. And Microsoft has done a really good job in cracking down on that and in increasing the security of their platform. But there was a time when Windows was just awful, wasn't it? It was just so much malware and spyware on the platform, and it was and it would spread because the settings were so loose that it was easy for these viruses to spread everywhere from one machine to another, especially on like internal networks and stuff like that. He's definitely dooming it, like doom and glooming it. Yeah, doom and glooming it. But there is a risk, I think, for sure. And I think they probably don't want to address that because they look at you can imagine your grandma going down my mom going down to the Apple store because she's got some virus. I mean, I can totally see that happening and it becoming a headache. Now they have to not only troubleshoot at the Genius Bar, hardware problems, but also software problems caused by this. So, you can kind of see where they're coming from. Although I disagree. I mean, I think they should allow sideloading. But
they're already doing that for the Mac. Like, if you go in there and you're like, my Mac has a problem, it's acting weird. What do they say? Virtually every single time, we need to reinstall the OS. It's like that's just always what they do. So, like, if you went on with your iPhone and it was having problems, they'd be like, well, we got to reinstall the OS. And reinstalling the OS on the iPhone is actually a lot easier than it is on the Mac. Because a lot of people don't back up their Macs.
Exactly, but you're hoping that people got it all backed up, right? And that's not a guarantee. And people are going to freak out if they oh yeah, easy fix. We'll just wipe everything. You'll lose all your photos, but don't worry about it. It'll be as good as gold. You do have it backed up, don't you? And of course I say, well, no. So
well, that's already the standard for Mac. I mean, and they'll warn you we might have to delete your hard drive or something. And I guess for me, I put the onus on the user. I'm like, well, you installed an app that you probably shouldn't have installed from a source. Because here's the thing, like the source
be
of the
some
apps is all the difference, right? Like if you're using a legitimate app store that allows apps that Apple doesn't allow, but they're scrutinizing the apps, like they're making sure that there's no malware, and there's a ton of websites where you can buy software like that now, then you're going to be fine. The only way you're going to run into a problem is if you're getting an app from a really shady source, and I think the people who end up doing that are going to know that they're doing that, and those users will be really small in number because most people don't want to risk bricking their phone.
Maybe, but there's already quite a lot of scammy, apps on the App Store already. There's
And
that one
that's
account.
supposedly well regulated.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
No, I mean, I agree. Like his wording is like it was almost like some kind of newspeak, right? Oh, offering choice by taking away choice. Yeah, very weird.
That's
but,
the best choice.
I think he does have I think it's a legitimate point that if they enable sideloading of apps, then hey, somebody sends you a link here, download this app. It's really cool, and it's not even sent by who you think it's sent by. You are stupid enough to download it. I mean, it happens, right? People get stuff and get their devices infected already from text messages and things. So
yeah,
I mean, it's just one more like way in, right? So I kind of am ambivalent about it. I kind of have always thought that I used to kind of hate Apple because it was so locked down and stuff. Like I own all these CDs and I can't listen to them on my iPod or whatever. But whatever. There's something to be said for it being simple and easy and safe as possible, right? I mean, aren't a lot of people that buy Apple devices isn't that what a lot of people are actually going for? Safe, easy, reliable.
Yeah, but I think that I don't think that these two things are mutually exclusive. So you could still have that, and then also still give people the option. I mean, they can make it so that you have to actively turn this on, right? So you have to go into your phone and say, I want to allow sideloading. And it's like on the Mac, right? You can try to install an app, and it's like, this app isn't secured. We've blocked the installation. You could do that on the iPhone, so that you have to explicitly go in and turn on a setting that says, I want to allow potentially unsafe apps to be installed on this iPhone, and make it really obvious, really clear. And then, okay, if you turn that on, then clearly you know what you're doing. Or you think that what you're doing. Yeah, it sends a code directly to Tim Cook's phone, and he takes a pencil and he scribbles your name out from the warranty log, so that they won't ever help you again. I just think that there's ways they can do this. Anyway, I really didn't mean to go on and on about this for so long, because we got to wrap up with an all new what we're into, because I got to be off in 15 minutes. So let's get this thing going. Does anyone want to go first this week to talk about what they're into? Lewis, you proposed the segment, and you also made that really mean intro about Leander, who's a really nice guy, and I took great offense to that because that wasn't true at all. So I think you should have to go first.
Okay, then. Yeah, so, I'm actually watching something that's fairly new. I'm halfway through Netflix hottest show, Squid Game. Have you seen this?
You're kidding. You're watching it, huh?
I
heard all about it, man. I don't think I'm interested because I heard it was brutally violent.
Exactly. I was reluctant to start watching it because I saw the headlines talking about, it's excessively violent. Oh my God, and I don't need like Saw style torture porn. I don't need any of that in my life right now.
Yep.
Maybe never did. But I don't think that's what this is. It's a show. So I don't know what you know about it. It's a show about a mysterious person or group of people, whatever, who they offer financially compromised people a way to make a ton of money by playing kids games. But if you lose, you die. Right. So
it kind of sounds like Saw, man. It's
yeah, you know what? I agree. It is a little bit like Saw, but it's so much more than Saw. Lots of people get gunned down, bludgeoned to death, etc. There's death all over the place. But it's also kind of for one thing, it doesn't have that like super negative tone of Saw. I don't think. I don't feel nearly as like, oh my God, this is eating my soul as I do when I watch a Saw movie. Mm-hmm. it does a good job of focusing on key participants, key players, and how they team up to survive. As a show. I'm like I said, I'm only halfway through it. I don't have any idea exactly how it's going to play out, but does a good job making you care about like the lead player and some of the people he makes friends with. He's just like this kind of good-hearted ne'er-do-well guy, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I think it's a good show. It is South Korean show. Unless you speak South Korean, you're gonna need subtitles. So if that ain't your thing, then this ain't the way to watch or nothing to watch. But
it's dubbed as well, though, isn't it? Isn't there an English dub version?
I've heard you're not supposed to watch the dub version.
Why not? Why not?
I don't know. I saw some headline about like, oh, whatever you do, don't do this. Be sure to do that. Whatever. I don't know.
People complain about this. Huh? People complain about the subtitles too. People said the subtitles were completely misleading. Anyway.
I saw a couple. I remember seeing one thing. I was like, that seems like an odd word choice. I do remember seeing one thing about that with the subtitles, but I don't know. Watching something dubbed, what I think I read, if I remember correctly, was that the subbed stuff was even worse because they try to make it, sync up with the lip movements, right? So anyway, I'm kind of digging it, and this is a bonus. I mean, I'm not into this yet, but I'm gonna get into it because today, speaking of South Korean shows that are interesting and fun, today, Thursday, I guess tomorrow when you hear this, is the day that Dr. Brain premieres on Apple TV Plus. Have you heard about this show?
Dude, I haven't, but I'm borderline ready to spend $5 a month on Apple TV Plus.
So I haven't watched this yet. I mean, like I said, it just came out today, but I just read the review that our reviewer Scout Tafoya wrote, and here's a little snippet just so you give you a little taste. Dr. Brain is one of the most exciting pilots I've seen in a dog's age because it hints at the stylish direction the show is about to take. It contains elements of Carrie, The Dead Zone, Brainstorm, The Fury. I mean, take your pick. It's rife with references, and it transpires at a breakneck speed and with such typical elan that even though you know what it's up to, it's totally exciting to strap in and wait for what happens next. If you don't know, it's about a scientist, a doctor scientist who his family dies, and he figures out a way to like communicate with dead people, right? So I'm going to be checking that out.
That's interesting. One of the things I discovered when I got my beautiful 4K OLED television is I thought there was a lot of 4K content out there. There's certainly a lot more than there used to be, but I was watching HBO Max content and I discovered they have almost no 4K content at all. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Disney Plus has a lot. Netflix, I think, has a lot if you're willing to pay them the extra money. And then you got good old Apple TV Plus. For $5 a month, they just give you every cutting-edge technology that you could possibly want. There's like Dolby Vision. Everything is like beautiful, ultra 4K, super beautiful, high resolution. And the streaming quality seems like it's also very high. You have Atmos and other kinds of surround sound. It's just for $5 a month. It's actually starting to become appealing to me. I have to admit. And they're constantly adding new content to it. Unlike a lot of streaming platforms, it just seems like they're moving and grooving, man. TC, he's wheeling and dealing, and it's starting to be worth that $5 a month if you ask me. Just for the fact that all of it is like super high quality 4K, because you can't get a lot of 4K content on most platforms, and all their stuff is like the best that there is.
There's tons of kids show too. I mean, I don't know how much your kids watch TV, but I mean, tons and tons of it, more all the time. And I mean, honestly, like Scout, you sent me a list yesterday. I'm like, here's all the stuff that's there's like 5 or 6 things coming this week. It's like, oh my god! So Friday is becoming Apple TV Plus review day on Tilted Mac.
That's pretty
It's
cool.
a little bit shocking. There's new episodes of Swagger, the new show, the new basketball show. There's a Tom Hanks sci-fi movie coming tomorrow called Finch.
That looks pretty good. That got a good review, didn't it? I just read a rave review of that.
Oh yeah, I haven't
read
that
yet.
What was the name of the movie again?
Finch. Oh, that's
it's
the
about,
one where he's with the robot, right? At the end of the world.
Yeah, he builds a robot. I mean, to me, it sounds like Castaway with a robot, but whatever. And also, I think the third season of Dickinson comes this week.
That's getting great reviews as well. That got a great review.
And there's a couple other things, like the morning show's still happening. I can't even remember. It's
Ted Lasso.
Don't
forget
exhausting.
Ted Lasso, everyone's favorite show that
didn't
one
it
day
wrap
I'm
up?
eventually going to watch. I don't know. Did it?
I can actually remember.
Oh man, how many episodes are they in? They're only on episode 3 for season 2. This is
That's
rated
still happening?
16 plus. Are they out of their minds? It's like one of the
Didn't
most
know
brutal
there
shows.
was a 16 plus rating.
I didn't either. I don't know what rating system they're using. That's surprising. This show's 16 plus. Like 10 years ago, this would have been rated X. Jeez, how far our standards have fallen. Okay,
Excellent,
so
excellent.
let me pitch mine real fast. So I watched a movie this last weekend that I've been holding off on watching for weeks because I was like, it's just gonna stress me out, and I'm gonna watch it at night, and then I'm not gonna be able to sleep. And finally, I made myself go in there and watch it. It's a movie that's been out for maybe a year, so it's not super new. And it's on HBO Max, which I was excited to see because I recently got HBO Max. And the movie is called Greenland. Anyone heard of it? Greenland.
Who's in it?
Gerard Butler
Not
and
the Green Book.
and I'm not sure
Green
who
Mile?
else. Some kid I've never seen before. And then I recognize it's a story about him, his wife, and their son and their journey through an event that I'll tell you about here in just a moment. His wife, I recognize her. She used to be in a show that I used to watch, but I can't remember her name. But in any case,
Lorena Baccarin.
Lorena Baccarin, thank you. So the premise of the show is, well, let me back up. Leonard, do you remember a long time ago we've had this discussion about Final Destination, the movie Final Destination?
I don't remember the discussion. No.
So Final Destination is a movie that includes one of the most realistic and like violent plane crashes that I've ever seen, right? And that movie single-handedly gave me a fear of flying. Like ever since I saw that movie, I was like scared of flying from then on. I would say that depiction of a plane crash is parallel to this movie's depiction of what would happen if an asteroid or a comet hit the Earth. It's not like other movies where it's like, oh no, a comet's coming, quick, grab Aerosmith and let's head to the bunker, and it's like this event that like hits and like everyone survives and everyone's chipper afterwards, like, woo, we can't believe that sending those asteroids to space like deflected that huge asteroid that was coming. This is a movie about a comet that's heading towards Earth, and it shows up all of a sudden. So like it's moving very fast. And actually, I didn't even realize this, but one of the differences between an asteroid and a comet is that comets move much more quickly, and they're more unpredictable because they are a mixture of like ice and rock, and the ice can like expand and blow chunks of the rock off. And so the people you learn this pretty quickly. If you don't want to hear this, then I would skip ahead a minute. But you learn very quickly that the people on Earth are like excited about this comet because it's going to fly by the Earth, and everyone's going to get to go outside and see it, and they're going to
Viewing
observe it and
parties.
stuff. Right. They're going to have viewing parties. And like the news is like everyone's attention is on, I think they called it like the Clark comet or something. Everyone's focus is on Clark. It's coming in for a close drive by, and you can just go outside and see it. And so everyone's like having viewing parties, and then all of a sudden a piece breaks off, and it comes hurtling into the atmosphere, and it lands, and then they can't really hear like an explosion or anything. So like they run outside, and this shock wave like blasts past them and knocks them all over. And they realize that this giant piece has struck an American city and basically destroyed the entire city. And pandemonium ensues when they realize that this comet is not just doing a flyby, it's on a direct intercourse with Earth. And it goes on throughout the course of the movie to show you the different phases of what it would be like when different aspects of this comet enter the Earth's atmosphere and start pelting the Earth. And again, this is kind of a spoiler. Skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this, okay? It concludes with a scene of the final piece coming into the atmosphere, and it's a piece that is 9 miles wide. And when that thing comes in, it brings that deep gurg to the HomePod. It's like you hear this thing enter the atmosphere, and then you see it burst into flames. And it's like it covers the entire horizon. It's on fire. It looks like a mountain. It's like a biblical event. It's like a mountain flying through the sky, coming towards the Earth. And it is truly frightening to see this thing and to see their depiction of what it would actually be like if a huge asteroid hit the Earth. It's not like any of those movies from the 90s where it's like, oh, no, here it comes. Like Deep Impact.
Armageddon.
Or Armageddon. Yeah, it's nothing like that. This is I think they really did their best to create a honest depiction of what an event like this would actually be like. And it was truly scary.
Did you read that amazing description about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs? And the way that it entered the atmosphere, like it actually opened up a hole into space. It completely decimated the atmosphere as it came in.
Really?
And yeah, I'll have to dig it up. I can't remember the whole thing now, but it was like that was truly terrifying. That description of that asteroid. But yeah, this sounds really good. I'm gonna go watch it.
You should check it out, man. Yeah, if you like the movie 2012, so it's funny. A lot of people hated that movie. I actually kind of liked it. It was like it was about these projections from the Mayans about using like their rudimentary calendars. They were able to figure out when the end of the world was going to be, and then it ended up happening in the year 2012. And there was the movie starring John Cusack. The whole movie was insane, like totally ridiculous, but it was actually great. I thought it was entertaining. It was really funny. It has Woody Harrelson in it, who stars as this pothead conspiracy theorist who had like predicted that this was going to happen and he ended up being right. And it's entertaining from start to finish, but the whole thing is totally preposterous. But but Greenland is I think one of the truer depictions of what an event like this would actually look like, and really unnerving and very scary from in that regard. Okay, Lewis, take us away. Leander, take us away.
Well, mine's a bit of a disappointment because I started watching a show on Netflix called Postmortem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's out of Norway, and it's hard to talk about without giving any spoilers, but it starts off fantastic. Like the first episode, totally hooked, but then by the third episode, I was completely bored.
I feel like that happens a lot when you're watching something. It's like
just,
you're really into it for 2 episodes, and then you are like, "This is the worst show I've ever seen."
I know I can't sustain it. I want to stick with it because there's a couple of mysteries that I'm kind of intrigued about to see how they play out, see how they get resolved. But and my brother liked it. It was on my brother's recommendation, so maybe I should dig back in again. The trouble is, I don't know. It's just so much time. I mean, it's already, this is like 6 episodes, I think, which is actually relatively short, but that's 6 hours of TV. Which to me is a lot. Anyway, I'm sorry to be a bit of a bummer there. It does start out great. It does start out great. I thought that the first episode was fantastic. It was really good. It was totally intriguing.
There's so many shows that do that though.
I felt they kind of stretched it out though. Like it's just too stretched out.
Could have been a movie.
Yeah. Oh, it could have been 3 episodes. Like if it had been 3,
like a miniseries or something.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
A mini series. It's already a mini series. I mean, it's not 10. It's only 6.
It's only 6 total. And when did you lose interest? Yeah. Midway through the first episode?
Yeah, midway through the third one. By the third one, I was kind of like, I don't know. And I've got bad news about Foundation too.
Oh no.
That started off fantastic, and now I'm kind of like, although the latest one did kind of pick up a little bit.
It's such a bummer when that happens. I was watching Westworld, and season 1, everyone kept telling me season 2 wasn't great. And I was like, okay, well, I'll check it out. I watched season 1, fantastic. And the hook, man, you're like, it's so powerful. You're just wondering what is going on in this world and what is happening because like these synthetic people that they've created are starting to become disobedient and create demands and behave in erratic ways that they weren't expecting. And then it builds to this crescendo, which was really it just made you just couldn't wait for season 2 to figure out what the resolution was going to be. And then season 2 comes back and you're like, oh, like that's what they did. Like that's where you were going with this. And now that like the big question mark has kind of been answered, it kind of deflated the whole show and it's just not nearly as interesting. I'm still going to continue watching it, but I know what you mean. It's like you had such a great premise and then you kind of blew it up and now it's just not interesting anymore. And that's such a bummer when that happens because great premises I feel like are hard to come by. They're few and far between.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leander agrees. All right, guys. Well, there you go. Apologies to those of you in the live stream who are like, yeah, I can't skip ahead, man. You're blowing the movie for me. I apologize. But, as Konoth says, you can always just, plug your ears or hit the mute button and just wait 30 seconds. I didn't think about that, but I didn't really spoil anything for you because there's a lot of stuff that happens that I didn't talk about inside the movie. But yeah, hopefully I didn't give away too much for you guys because you know me, I'm Mr. No Spoiler King. I don't even spoil movies that are like 30 years old. I don't spoil any movies. I just assume that no one has seen the movie, even if it's like 50 years old. I still don't talk about the ending because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to crank up the music, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. If there's a movie that we should be watching, if there's a show that we should be watching that you want to hear us talk about, let us know. We're all on Twitter. I'm at Airfon, ERFON. Leander is at LK. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute album conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys. It's still going. It's still going. Next time. There we go, guys. We made it through another episode. 517 in the books. I give that a solid C minus.
Hey, it's great on a curve.
But on a curve?
Yeah.
D plus. Oh wait, you mean like if we compare it to other podcasts in the same ecosystem, like the Talk Show and the 9 to 5 Math podcast?
Ooh, here comes the talent.
The double A plus.
The claws.
517.
5-7. Can you believe it, Leander? We've been going on this show for so long that I truly don't even know how long we've been doing it anymore. I just know that February 24th is an anniversary, but I don't know which anniversary it is. But I think it's possible that at some point in the future, one of us will literally die on the show. It's like sending it over to Leander Caney. Leander? Why is he so green?
Yeah.
Seems a
I think
little
Leander's dead. All right, guys. Let's end the
I think we
show.
got 517.
All right.
I gotta go. I got a
Bye.
headache from hunger.